What happened to the cast who made America laugh every week on Three's Company? Behind the bright smiles, hilarious misunderstandings, and one of television's most beloved sitcoms lies a story filled with heartbreaking losses, bitter contract disputes, career comebacks, and lives forever changed after the camera stopped rolling. Many fans remember the laughter, but few know what happened when the spotlight faded. Today, we'll revisit the cast of Three's Company then and now, reveal who is still with us in 2026, who we tragically lost, and uncover the surprising stories that shaped their lives long after the final episode aired. Jack Tripper, the charming and accident-prone roommate at the center of Three's Company, was brought to life by John Ritter. Born on September 17, 1948, in Burbank, California, Ritter was just 28 years old when the beloved sitcom premiered in 1977. What made Jack Tripper so memorable was that he was far more than a typical television bachelor. With his endless energy, nervous improvisations, and gift for physical comedy, Jack became the driving force behind many of the show's funniest moments. Whether he was stumbling into trouble, inventing elaborate excuses, or desperately trying to escape another misunderstanding, Ritter's timing and natural charisma made every scene unforgettable. His remarkable chemistry with his co-stars helped create the fast-paced humor that defined the series. His performance earned him both a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe, cementing his place among television's finest comedic actors. Following the success of Three's Company, Ritter continued to entertain audiences through projects such as Hooperman Problem Child and 8 Simple Rules. Tragically, he passed away in 2003 at the age of 54 due to an aortic dissection. More than 2 decades later, his portrayal of Jack Tripper remains a treasured part of television history, continuing to bring laughter to generations of viewers. Janet Wood, the intelligent and level-headed roommate who often served as the voice of reason on Three's Company, was portrayed by Joyce DeWitt. Born on April 23, 1949, in Wheeling, West Virginia, DeWitt was 28 years old when the series debuted in 1977. Among the many colorful personalities that filled the apartment, Janet stood out for her practicality, quick wit, and steady presence. While Jack's schemes unraveled and confusion spread from room to room, Janet was usually the one trying to restore order. DeWitt brought warmth, intelligence, and impeccable comic timing to the role, demonstrating that a grounded character could be just as vital to a sitcom's success as its most outrageous personalities. Her chemistry with John Ritter helped anchor the show's humor and gave many of its funniest moments an emotional foundation. Following the end of Three's Company, DeWitt largely stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight, choosing a quieter path that included stage performances, independent productions, and select television appearances. In 2026, at 77 years old, she remains warmly remembered by fans. Janet Wood continues to be celebrated as one of television's most dependable roommates, loyal, sensible, and an essential part of the enduring charm that keeps Three's Company beloved decades later. Larry Dallas. The fast-talking best friend whose questionable advice often led Jack Tripper into even greater trouble was portrayed by Richard Klein. Born on April 29, 1944, in New York City, Klein was 33 years old when Three's Company premiered in 1977. Larry became one of the show's most memorable supporting characters because he brought a different kind of energy to the apartment. Confident, charming, and endlessly optimistic about his latest plan, Larry always seemed convinced he could talk his way out of any situation. Whether he was offering romantic advice, chasing another scheme, or unintentionally making Jack's problems worse, he added a layer of unpredictability that kept audiences laughing. Richard Klein played the role with effortless charisma, transforming Larry into far more than a stereotypical ladies' man. Beneath the swagger was a loyal friend whose heart was usually in the right place even when his judgment was not. His friendship with Jack Tripper produced some of the series' funniest misunderstandings and helped create the lighthearted chemistry that made Three's Company such a lasting success. After the show ended, Klein continued building a respected career in television theater touring productions and voice acting, demonstrating the same sharp comic timing that audiences had loved for years. He also remained warmly connected to fans through cast reunions, interviews, and special appearances celebrating the show's legacy. In 2026, at 82 years old, Richard Klein remains one of the familiar faces of classic television. Larry Dallas is still remembered as the friend every sitcom needs, unreliable in advice, loyal in spirit, and always just one clever line away from another hilarious disaster. Terry Alden, the confident and compassionate nurse who joined Jack and Janet during the later seasons of Three's Company, was portrayed by Priscilla Barnes. Born on December 7, 1954 in Fort Dix, New Jersey, Barnes was 26 when she first appeared on the series in 1981. Terry brought a fresh sense of maturity to the apartment while preserving the lighthearted spirit that fans loved. Intelligent, independent, and quick-witted, she often handled the chaos around her with calm confidence. Stepping into a hugely successful sitcom after major cast changes was a difficult challenge, but Barnes made the role her own, helping keep the show's chemistry strong through its final years. After Three's Company, Barnes built a long career in film and television, appearing in projects such as License to Kill Mallrats and The Devil's Rejects. Over the years, she also spoke openly about the pressures of joining an already iconic series. In 2026, at 71 years old, she remains fondly remembered as the roommate who arrived late, earned viewers' affection, and helped guide Three's Company to its successful conclusion. Helen Roper, the vibrant and often overlooked wife of landlord Stanley Roper, was memorably portrayed by Audrey Lindley. Born on September 24, 1918 in Los Angeles, California, Lindley was 58 years old when Three's Company premiered in 1977. Helen became a fan favorite because she brought warmth, humor, and personality to every scene. Beneath her colorful caftans and playful one-liners was a woman longing for romance, attention, and a little excitement in her everyday life. Audrey Lindley delivered the role with impeccable comic timing and a mischievous charm that made Helen both hilarious and relatable. Her on-screen chemistry with Norman Fell was so successful that the pair went on to star in the spin-off series The Ropers from 1979 to 1980. Long before sitcom fame, Lindley had built an extensive career in theater, film, and television. She continued acting for years after leaving the series, remaining a familiar face to audiences. Audrey Lindley passed away in 1997 at the age of 79 after battling leukemia. Today, Helen Roper remains one of classic television's most beloved sitcom characters, funny, resilient, and impossible to ignore. Stanley Roper, the gruff and endlessly suspicious landlord of Three's Company, was portrayed by Norman Fell. Born on March 24, 1924 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Fell was 53 years old when the series premiered in 1977. What made Stanley unforgettable was that he could get a laugh with little more than a glance. His deadpan expressions, dry sarcasm, and constant suspicion of Jack's living arrangement became some of the show's most reliable sources of comedy. Cheap, stubborn, and often set in his ways, Stanley could be difficult, yet Norman Fell infused the character with enough charm and humanity to keep audiences entertained. His ongoing verbal sparring with Helen Roper created one of the sitcom's most beloved relationships and ultimately led to the spin-off series The Ropers. Before and after his sitcom success, Fell enjoyed a long career as a respected character actor appearing in films such as The Graduate and Bullet, as well as numerous television dramas. He passed away in 1998 at the age of 74 after battling bone marrow cancer. Today, Stanley Roper remains one of television's classic comic curmudgeons, a man convinced he had everything figured out, while the joke was usually on him. Lana Shields, the confident and flirtatious neighbor who brought a fresh dynamic to Three's Company, was portrayed by Ann Wedgeworth. Born on January 21, 1934 in Abilene, Texas, Wedgeworth was 45 years old when she joined the series in 1979. What made Lana stand out was her self-assurance. Unlike many characters who found themselves confused by Jack Tripper's situations, Lana usually knew exactly what she wanted, often leaving Jack flustered and scrambling for an escape. Ann Wedgeworth played the role with charm, confidence, and excellent comic timing, making Lana a memorable addition to the show's ensemble. Although her run lasted only one season, she left a lasting impression on viewers and remains one of the series' most interesting supporting characters. Beyond Three's Company, Wedgeworth enjoyed a distinguished career on stage and screen-winning a Tony Award for Chapter 2 and later appearing in Steel Magnolias and Evening Shade. She passed away in 2017 at the age of 83 after a long illness. Today, Lana Shields is remembered as a spirited character whose brief time on the show left fans wanting more. Chrissy Snow, the cheerful and lovable roommate whose infectious energy helped turn Three's Company into a television sensation, was portrayed by Suzanne Somers. Born on October 16, 1946 in San Bruno, California, Somers was 30 years old when the series premiered in 1977. Chrissy became one of the show's breakout characters thanks to her innocent misunderstandings, bright personality, and unforgettable sense of humor. Suzanne Somers brought warmth and charm to the role, creating a character who was both sweet and genuinely endearing. Her performance helped define the early success of the series and made Chrissy one of the most recognizable sitcom characters of the late 1970s. Behind the scenes, Somers became part of one of television's most talked-about contract disputes after seeking equal pay with the show's top stars, a conflict that ultimately led to her departure. She later reinvented herself as a best-selling author, fitness entrepreneur, wellness advocate, and co-star of Step by Step, becoming a cultural icon far beyond sitcom television. After a long battle with breast cancer, Suzanne Somers passed away in 2023 at the age of 76, just one day before her 77th birthday. Today, Chrissy Snow remains an unforgettable part of her legacy, bright beloved, and forever linked to the golden age of television comedy. Frank Angelino, the demanding restaurant owner who played a key role in Jack Tripper's professional journey, was portrayed by Jordan Charney. Born on April 1, 1937 in New York City, Charney was in his early 40s when he began appearing on Three's Company during the series' later years. What made Angelino memorable was how he expanded Jack's world beyond the apartment. As owner of Angelino's restaurant, he challenged Jack's ambitions, tested his patience, and frequently found himself caught up in the misunderstandings that seemed to follow Jack everywhere. Jordan Charney brought a firm, no-nonsense presence to the role, creating the perfect contrast to Jack's nervous charm and tendency to improvise his way through trouble. Through Angelino, viewers saw another side of Jack, not just a lovable roommate, but a young man working hard to establish himself as a professional chef. Outside the sitcom, Charney enjoyed a long and respected career in television theater and daytime drama, with appearances in the Doctors Hill Street Blues and Law and Order. In 2026, at 89 years old, he remains one of the surviving members of the extended Three's Company cast. Frank Angelino is still remembered as the tough boss, who often made Jack's work life nearly as complicated as his personal life.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please support us by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot to us.